Hello and welcome to Viewpoints, Dominion DMS's video podcast series where we highlight our vendor partners. I'm Sharon Kitzman, president of Dominion DMS, and with us today we have Troy Spring. He's the CEO of Dealer World and also the co-founder of Dealer Funnel, which we'll be talking about today. Troy, welcome.
Hi, Sharon. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And
Oh,
yourself?
good. Well, yeah, no, good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is great.
Absolutely. So before we get into the hard-hitting questions, maybe you could just tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your company, Dealer Funnel.
Yeah, sure. So, I think if we go all the way to the way back, I sold my first car when I was 18. You can tell because it's a video podcast that I'm not 18 anymore. So that was in the neighborhood of 36 years ago. I've just loved the auto business, my entire career, everywhere from a salesman to finance to managing dealerships. Kind of the height of my retail career. I ran 4 stores as a platform manager. So that was kind of a goal in my retail career. I learned along that way, kind of in the pathway of that I loved advertising. My favorite part of running the retail operation was driving traffic and making sure that the stores were buzzing and busy. And 2009, the whole recession kind of thing hit, and it provided an opportunity for me to start Dealer World. So we've been around for about 14 years at that company, and we've grown every year after year. It's been a really great ride. I think I made that right choice, kind of following my passion of advertising. So that's been really good for us. And then we got as digital marketing and lead generation became more and more important. Especially things like Facebook, and the likes. We really recognized a need to find a way to treat leads like an asset. Not the 30-day churn. Not how many leads did we have last month? And somebody says, we got 392 leads last month. Well, what are you doing with those? Well, really nothing. Because I got 14, 18 leads yesterday, and I got to work those.
Right.
So, as things kind of constricted and got more difficult, and again, we kind of got better and better at driving more leads. That's where Dealer Funnel was really born. My partner, Jeffrey Wise, and myself kind of got together and just said, we need to have a solution that treats leads like an asset. So it did kind of start from the social media experience, and trying to nurture those leads long term. But then it quickly started to really develop into, well, if it works for that lead, it should work for everything. So now we can ingest really any kind of third party lead into our system and continue that lead nurturing process. So it's just been an evolution of need. I guess it started with my want and desire to really spend the rest of my career in advertising, and then I couldn't stop. It was like, we're driving so many leads and the dealers need help working them. Let's create a platform that would help them nurture those leads in a more, kind of robust and a little bit more of a directional path towards ROI.
Okay, excellent. Well,
Yeah.
Congratulations on your success.
Well, yeah. Hey, thanks. By the way, I know that was a little bit of a ramble.
No, that's okay.
but it's been a lot. It was a 36-year journey in about 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes there.
That's excellent. So there's a lot of digital advertising companies out there.
Sure.
In maybe a couple more sentences, what makes Dealer Funnel unique compared to your competition?
Yeah, so on the Dealer World side, which is really the advertising and traffic driving portion of what I do, I'll just hit that briefly because you asked, like, there's a lot of ad agencies out there. So I think what makes us different is that we're really focused on performance more than just running ads. It's really a performance agency that happens to run ads. I think that comes from my retail background, knowing what it feels like to be on a showroom floor with no leads and no traffic. So we have a really deep understanding of the dealer's, life. And so from that standpoint, we kind of work from low-lying fruit, zero spend ideas first. And we actually try as an ad agency to lower the dealer's budget. And while at the same time increasing the efficiencies, increasing the ROI, increasing the sales. So I think that makes us quite a bit different, and that leads into what makes Dealer Funnel a little bit different, right? I mean, one of the answers was, if I'm driving, we have clients 900,000 leads or more a month, and certainly there are some outlying stories of enormous amounts of leads being driven, but take the average of say 400 or 500 leads a month coming into a store. In 12 months time, that's 6,000, right? And I looked at it and started saying to the dealer, like, even if at $10 a lead, which I know is not what they're normally spending, but to make round numbers, let's just say they spent $5,000 or $8,000 in a month to drive their leads. Well, that's $100,000 or so in a year, right? 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 to drive those leads. And again, in many cases, it's much, much more, right? But in that case, in that scenario, we started talking to dealers about the fact that, listen, if you bought a car last month for 10 grand and it got over 90 days old or 60 days old or 30 days old in some cases, right? Or, you'd have a problem with that, because you look at every car that you buy as an asset.
Right.
So let's start looking at the 7, 8, 7, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40,000 a month that you're spending on leads, and treating every single one that you generate as an asset, as something that you own, that we should be working long-term in a more efficient manner, so that you can get return on that investment, whether or not it's today or whether or not it's 9, 10, 12, 18, 20 months from now. Yeah. So I think that's what really makes us different is we look at some of the things that dealers own already as an asset.
Okay. And connecting the dots for them on how much that asset is costing them and how to move it faster.
Yeah. And, just to kind of maybe tell you a story about that, to tie it all together, it's fun for us to see a lead that goes into Dealer Funnel now. And I don't care where it's ingested from. It could have come from, Auto Trader, Cars.com, TrueCar, Facebook, doesn't matter. Could have come from the website. But once it's ingested into Dealer Funnel and that communication goes back and forth, what happens in our system is when the end consumer kind of stops that communication and you think you're close to an appointment, but they kind of go silent on you, that lead doesn't die in our system. That lead gets put into a funnel, hence the name Dealer Funnel. And it's, we have AI built in, but it's really marketing automation, not to talk about buzzwords, but it's really the automation that we have set up to say, hey, this lead's gone cold on us. Let's reach out to them, tomorrow. Let's reach out to them on Sunday or Monday. Let's reach out to them day 39, day 74, day. And so that we are automatically reaching out to that person. We don't forget about them. And what's really, really cool is that sometimes we see a lead that's in the system 7, 8, 9, 10 months. And all of a sudden they reach back out and they re-engage and say, hey, yeah, I'm in the market now. Do you have any trucks down there? Can you help me get approved? And so from that standpoint, we really live in a world of re-engagement, because now our humans, whether or not it's the dealership humans or people on our staff, are working a lead that's engaged, and we're not spending all day just dialing to see if we can get in touch with somebody, to see if we can engage someone. We've kind of automated the engagement part.
Yeah. It's an interesting story, because I come off lease in August.
Right.
I probably won't buy anything until August, but I've started looking now, right? But people are hitting me with follow-ups now, but will they still be following up with me actually when I'm ready in late July or early August?
No, that's a great point. And to that note, something that Dealer Funnel does, and again, it's got to be used properly, right? So software is great unless it's not used properly. But one thing that we do that's really cool is we could tag that as an example. You could go into a bucket that says, off lease 6 months as an example, or so now the communication in that particular funnel is very pointed towards your situation and it's relevant to you. So you might get a message that comes out in August that says, hey, we know you reached out to us and you had a lease coming due. As you get closer to that, so it doesn't have to say August. It could just say something like, as you get closer to that and you may have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help you and share with you what it looks like to either return your vehicle, trade your vehicle, and what's best financially for you. Well, that could be set to go out on day 77 in a funnel that is categorized as 6 to 12 months off lease. Yeah. And so now you get tagged that way and you're not getting just messages that are very kind of watered down vanilla that you go, hey, not relevant to me at all. These guys are just kind of bugging me. So every situation, well, I would say that we probably have in the neighborhood of, well over 100 to 150 different funnels built out.
Interesting.
Just for each and every different kind of person that might have come in through a different media or a different situation. Somebody could need credit help. Somebody could have a car to sell. Somebody could be off lease. So I think you get the point.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, we think so.
So NADA says that on average, dealers have about 18 different software packages that they're using across their business.
Right.
As a DMS provider, right, almost all of them want some sort of data out of the DMS as kind of that, that data warehouse almost in the dealership that most transactions within the dealership end up funneling into, no pun intended, at some point. If I'm talking to you about our joint dealers, right, the dealers who are using both Dominion DMS as well as Dealer Funnel or Dealer World, is there a way that you and I can work better together on behalf of our common client? I mean, my goal is not only to keep our common client, but to have them be a happy and very tightly integrated client.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've told you this before. I'm not on the technical side of what we do, but I will tell you, I think you already hit the key, which is open communication, a willingness, a goal to work together and play well in the sandbox with other vendors. It's a bit of a mantra around here, whether or not it's Dealer Funnel or Dealer World. That we play well in the sandbox. It's important. We have an end user client, which is the dealer who's supposed to come first. So I feel if we keep that in mind, whether or not you're trying to integrate something with us at Dealer Funnel or you're with another software that needs something from you, we personally find that it's a mixed bag of tricks how you get treated out there. I think that too, right? So I think first and foremost, and this is the thing I think that has to happen before even anything technically can happen, is we have to be open-minded to working together towards the common goal, which is the dealer's success. And again, you use the word goal. It's our goal. It starts there. I mean, really. I think there's a litany of different things that, we might need, and or you might need from us. But if everybody started playing a little bit less defense and, overly protecting their own little world, I think it would benefit the dealer personally.
Absolutely. Yeah. We believe in dealer choice, and so we're trying to integrate to as many software providers out there in that ecosystem and not be defensive and say, oh, well, that kind of competes with us in some way. We're just trying to stay in our own lane and allow the dealer to choose the other best-in-class solutions.
Yeah, and I feel the same exact way. And, as an example, I don't think any company is right for every single dealer. It's just not, I'm the ones I own, the ones that you run and manage, it doesn't, no, it's not, no one particular thing is right for everyone, in my humble opinion. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it kind of leads me into my next question, which is, this industry has its ups and downs. You talked about how you started in 2009 because there was a clear need as we entered the recession. We might have another downturn, or we might have another upturn.
Oh, we'll have one.
I guess next, right? It could go down, It could go up. And dealers might need a different solution at a different time in their history based on what's going on in the larger macro environment as well. So not only is not every solution right for every dealer, but different solutions might be right for a dealer at different times.
Yes. And so as an example, one of the things that we do fight a little bit at Dealer Funnel, to be transparent, is, we're not a CRM. We are a lead nurturing software. We ingest leads, we nurture them to a point of an appointment. And it is important for us to be able to push that communication into different CRMs. One of the biggest kind of obstacles that we had in the early days was dealers would say, hey, like you said, they got 18 softwares. I don't want to log into anything different. I don't want to do anything different. If, I don't care how good your system is. If it doesn't push to our CRM, I don't want it. We work out of the CRM and that's it. And, so, we definitely understand those struggles that a dealer goes through. And so it is important to play in that sandbox because, what our system does, most CRMs, if not almost all CRMs, don't really do and probably aren't going to end up doing. So the simplicity of playing well in the sandbox and saying, listen, let us nurture those leads and push them to you guys. Not all of this has to be in the CRM. Right. What needs to be in the CRM is the appointments that we set, or the communication channels, so that you can go in and take a look at it. But yeah, to your point, it really just boils down to, if it's right for the dealer and the dealer likes that system and it works for them, it is important that all of us in the vendor space kind of have a little bit more of an open mind of saying, hey, let's wrap our arms around each other and help this guy, help this dealer, help this business.
It should be the focus for
it should be the focus. 100% it should be the focus. Yeah.
Well, good.
Which is why I was very glad to take this podcast, and chat with you a little bit, because these are the relationships that we want to have.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there are other Dominion DMS dealers out there watching this podcast who are not taking advantage of Dealer Funnel, is there some advice as to how to engage with you and your team and start the process?
Yeah, sure. I'm fairly visible socially and on LinkedIn, as an example, Troy Spring and Dealer World or Dealer Funnel. Just find me. That's a good start. Or go to dealerfunnel.com and, just fill out the contact form. For what it's worth, we got a really great staff. We've got, engaged people. We'll get back to you. We'll demo anybody and without expectation, just to we love to share what we've built, kind of proud of it. And, so if they go to dealerfunnel.com or just search Troy Spring, or Matt Kelly or Kenny Calhoun, they'll find us. So yeah. And like I said, if anybody wanted a demo, we'll do it with no expectations. Glad to show you what we're doing.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for all the wonderful information. And as we wrap up here today, since we're both in the auto industry and since the dealers who will be watching this podcast are obviously also in the auto industry, I always ask everyone that I interview about just kind of a favorite car memory. Could be a car that you had that you loved, or it could be a car that you hope to have in the future. It doesn't matter, but everybody in our industry seems to have a passion about the real asset, right, in our industry, which is the vehicle, and I'm always interested in hearing them.
So do you have like another 90 minutes? No, I'm a bit of a car buff. I love them, and I've got a plethora of those stories because throughout my life I've just really enjoyed cars. So, but let me pick one. All right, so here's an interesting one. Like next week is my son's prom. And I remember, as a matter of fact, sitting over that way. My daughter is the director of our data intelligence and whatnot. I remember her prom as well. So, this season of prom reminds me that in 1983, my dad took me to a Chevy dealership. I was probably a junior, I think, in high school, somewhere around that range. And the new Camaro had just come out, and it was that new kind of angled body style. It was such a radically different, departure from the old body styles. And I remember thinking at that moment as a kid, this is kind of where my love affair of cars started. My dad actually asked me, again, I was 16, 17 years old or so, what kind of car would you buy if you were to buy a car? I said, I don't know, that new Camaro and Firebird that just came out last year is super cool. I love those, those angles. It looks futuristic. And so funny enough, really cool memory for me is my dad took me to the Chevy store and he bought a Camaro. And I ended up taking that to prom, and it was like, this really funny thing, because back in those days, you can remember like hoop dresses and whatnot. Like I'm stuffing my high school girlfriend into the Camaro when everybody else is trying to take a limo. And then my dad, what he really wanted was a Corvette. So by the time I was a senior, he had traded the Camaro. He only kept it like a year or so. And I don't remember I think it was a 76. He went back to kind of an older body style Corvette. And, but my junior, so again, just kind of because we're in prom season now, it kind of reminds me of a really cool memory. I took a 1983 Camaro to junior prom and a 1976 Corvette to senior prom. And
wow,
that probably started some of my love affair with cars.
Yeah. I graduated high school in 87, so I can relate to
86 here for me.
I can relate to those body styles. And did the headlights come up?
They did in the Corvette.
Okay.
I don't think they did in the Camaro. I think they did in the Corvette.
Yeah.
But it was just cool, right?
Yeah, and everybody was going to like Back to the Future and the DeLorean. That movie was popular then as well, which kind of had a similar look. So that's a great story. Well, I hope you let your son into your garage and get his pick of cars for his prom date as well.
Yeah, we have a plan. It's not exactly the same. Times are different, but we've got a plan, so it should be good.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't think hoop skirts are in right now either, so
they're not. No.
Well, Troy, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your car story, as well as a little bit about My Dealer World and Dealer Funnel. It sounds like a fantastic solution for dealers, and I hope they learned a little and are able to contact you and your team for that next demo.
Yeah, and likewise, we really appreciate you choosing to spend some time with us and reach out to me for anything at any time. And I'm just thankful that, like I said, we like to play well in the sandbox. We like to have great relationships with every vendor that's out there. We don't we just don't have that kind of mentality to shut those things down. So things like this for me are great, and we very much appreciate it. So thanks a
Absolutely.
bunch, and enjoy that good weather while I'm up here in like 61 degrees.
Well, as we talked about in the beginning, I'm from that part of town or that part of the country, and my mom still lives in that part of the country. So I get a daily weather report, and
It's not been good.
I just always reply 85 and sunny.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little jealous, that's for sure. Well, thanks again.
Excellent.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.